Okay, no big deal. Who needs to see me? I don't. Okay. So, here's what I want to talk about. Anybody ever seen the very cryptic blue line that's here to the left of my live stream, or my comments to my friend Randy Morgans? And, of course, I already knew what it was. But I like to see if anybody else knows what it is. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? So, when you get these blue lines, you're being monitored. And that's cool. Like I said, I have no problem with it. And it's happened at Rare Elvis on Facebook. So, we'll go over there and see what's shaking, too. But, I do want to read out loud, for the record, what I actually said. And anybody that knows me knows that I full well expect to get called on everything that I say. I take nothing lightly. Okay. Suze Pratt. That's me. Thank you, Randy Morgans, for the correction. Now, what had happened was this damn CW I'm always having to scrap with. That SOB has been in this conspiracy. Do I want to tag Stephen Blum? Sure I do. I love Stephen Blum. Alright, thanks. Thanks, Facebook. Anyhow, he had said that him and Corey started their YouTube channels at the same time. And why this is important is because they started after I did. They already had the information. They already had the plan. So, I say, CW implied Corey and him had some kind of hand-holding as they entered the contest. He must have said it for views, as he is known to do. What I find fascinating as I listen to the broadcast is Corey Good's witness got him a hookup is September 2014, which is quite ominous considering the evidence I brought into account of my experience on September 1st, 2014, during the supernatural events which I retain all handwritten originals, which is my art and intellectual property. This event has continued on ever since, as you know, to this date, and that leaves me with less than 72 hours of normalcy on this video game journey which busted the system. Okay, what you guys need to know about this silly Corey Good thing is, you know, he wants to allegedly trademark phrases that people already use. And see, that's the shiny bauble. That is not the truth. I mean, the trademark thing is really a code for intellectual property. And intellectual property, you do not need to pay to trademark. You do not need a lawyer. For example, if you create intellectual property, the way that you protect it for free, it's always been this way, is you put it in an envelope with a stamp on it, and you take it to the post office, and you get that mark, you know, the stamp, and then it comes to your mailbox. And when you get your own letter back, you put it in a safe deposit box or in a file or someplace, because it will have the actual date that it became a legitimate document in the eyes of this thing that we think is law. So that's how you do it. Now, of course, like I said, the first time this happened to me was over at Rare Elvis, where I got attacked by a shill that's no longer online. I mean, it really is just like a soap opera, and for those of you that know, I mean, I really did. I listened to a soap opera that paralleled my life for 30 years. It was called All My Children. Okay, so let's get out of Facebook for a minute And let's go to Jackass and let me tell you what happened. This screen here that's open was the original live stream of CW Chanter. This was 3 hours ago. Now, what's important about this is on YouTube, they have made it a rule, call it a law, that your live stream will remain public, because you can't run a live stream and get in there and mock people and defame them and hurt them and talk shit on them and then it's erased. I mean, and hey, if it's erased, then there is no evidence. Well, I promise you they're watching this guy. But in the meantime, what happened was I saved this screen because I had that live stream, and then I had the one where it said, you know, live stream chat is disabled. It wasn't disabled, it was right there. It was there. And it's ugly. I'll play you a little of that, but for my own entertainment. I feel like I need a cartoon or something to tease him with. I wish I could get my face back. I wish I could move around. Let's see. Yep, here I am, way over here. See? Let me see it. Oh, there I am. Yippee. Okay. Of course, see, for example, I pay for Zoom, but I really can't use it because my computer's too full. And oh yeah, I can't make iMovies because the hackers messed up my iMovie, which is part of the UK Computer Misuse Act. But of course, since we're... All my files are gone, all my pictures, all my paperwork, and my disk is full, but everything's gone. Where now it's your fault if you order something that's outside of the United States. Are you engaged with a Facebook or a website that's not in the United States? I mean, that sounds pretty bad. Kind of like back to 2013, we find out all the musicians that were under contract in America went international to play. Oh, but you couldn't see their videos till 2013. You live in a free society, but you were blocked from seeing musicians that you know and love. Great. 2013 also, you may want to know, was the year that it became full-blown legal to create false narratives and shows. Now, this whole thing with these trademarks and these book deals is no different than all the jackasses that write stories about Elvis that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. Just to make money. No big deal. You're committing crimes of what's called hagiography, especially if you're slandering somebody that's allegedly deceased. But I mean, really? Treating somebody and talking to him so rotten, but CW has psychoanalyzed himself, no doubt, and he's going to tell you a little why he's so pissed. But in the meantime, y'all need to first remember that he denies every piece of work that I do because I have no viewers compared to him. See, it's a hierarchy. Now, what dumbass doesn't know is that was part of the experiment. So if you take somebody like me that has something to say and is credible, and you show it to fewer people, but it's obvious and they have experts looking and they can, like, see what's really going on, up against somebody that is the complete polar opposite and will admittedly tell you he doesn't know why, and then go ahead and slam somebody into the ground, and everybody he runs with are the people that are involved in this scheme. And it pisses me off because I'm in the center of this story. But that sounds so arrogant for me to say. Why would it be me? Why wouldn't it be somebody important? While they all cry about how we should be equally important. See how it works? We'll let him talk.
The person was just either acting from the stance of being molded by the circumstances that they grew up with or in, or the raw basic materials that they have to work with, their raw competence of brain power, chemical imbalances, psychological situations or ailments or conditions, however you want to characterize it, though I don't want to use the word defect. Now that's a quiet moment, a quiet reflection where I'm trying to purposely set up an avenue where I can bring myself to have more empathy and sympathy for people who I might be tempted to perceive as my enemies or tempted and perceived of as negative or bad actors. And doing that in order to kind of restore balance to the force and try and get to that space of objectivity where I'm not reacting out of anger or resentment or jealousy or hatred or whatever, but that I am seeing things and for how they are, and also fully integrating and being in a space where I can know and understand that there are things that I don't know, right? To get past the space of assumption and presumption to just the space of space, maybe.
Ah, now is that because of psychological deficiencies within Sir Channelot, or is that plausible deniability? Because you gotta remember, when somebody defames you and speaks ill of you, that is actually something that you can be brought into a court of law on, and he knows this. But the courts are so full anyhow.
He said it.
This lawyer has already been sued and has a whole background.
That 70s show. The kid, I have a headache. He said, that's just your fucking brain lashing back at your stupidity.
Also, that I called it a two-way time tunnel. You can also look at it as if you've lost objectivity because you're overly impressed by a person. You think they're nice and you got a lot of sympathy or empathy for them, or due to historical conditions and the way that things have played out, you see them in a good light or want to see them in a good light. Reflecting on the fact that everybody's got agendas, everybody has got, tendencies that you may or may not see. You can try and go back in reverse and not to the point of negativity where you're angry at somebody or tearing them apart, but just always remind yourself to say, hey, look, you know what I mean? To try and see people and know and understand that even the people that we like, there's so much of what we think is just organic to how we like somebody, that we think is a true assessment, but really it's an assessment of a whole combination, platter of factors. Where we met them in space and time, whether we see them as competition, whether or not having a good or successful interaction with them leads to a connection or a growth or different things. I think you know what I mean and understand. I hope you do. These are the sort of things that we could talk about or we could free associate about probably for hours and hours on that. Maybe I've already said all I need to say about it.
This is about Winston Shrout going to jail and reflecting on no SSPTM so far. Now what that means is no secret space program trademark so far. But like I said, this isn't really at all about trademarks that can be purchased and shaken hand deals in dark corners. Because we know it's really hard to get trademarks too. What a waste of time. It's about intellectual property. And where the hell is your live stream? And, you know, to think that you won't get caught. Now, he also talks some really dark words after he says all these lovely things. And see, in the meantime, he really can't backpedal from what he did. And there are multiple players combining their numbers and speaking a coded language. It's really not, here again, like you think it is. And this whole David Wilcock thing is a cover-up for the Glasscock history. Corey Good is Johnny B. Good. I mean, are you kidding? And like I said, all these guys play rock band. It's a very odd situation. But like I told my son, I mean, you know, you grow up and you become an important, let's say, lawmaker, or let's say you become some kind of humanitarian and help rescue people from the floodwater or whatever. You still need that thing to chill you out, and that is your music. Music is always, what would you say, enrich people's lives when they're going through their hardest times. And of course now what's happened with the whole shockwave of what's been going on with film and media. Well, now it's all evil and rotten, but see, that's that thing, like when you're riding a hurricane. That's not what I meant, a roller coaster. And, you know, your head bashes into the side, but your brain is like 1/10 of a centimeter behind it, and so they meet and they go like this. Sometimes people get brain injury from things like that.
Groovy Bean might have.
But
what do we know?
there's a lot of good
She meant
things
like roller
on TV.
coasters.
And like I've confessed, I don't have satellite or cable. But the phenomenon engages me directly through the regular TV. And like I've said too, you can say turn it off and walk away. But just because you turn it off doesn't mean that they turn it off. So when people cry about not being important game players on this board, it's beyond this race for numbers and all this hoopla. It's about what you actually do with your time and energy, and that's why this is so important. Because like I said, we're engaging some new things that have never been seen before. See, a jackass like this says there's nothing new under the sun. And I say absolutely not. So, you have to acknowledge the cycle to break it, then you do get something new. And you get into the religious wars and people's beliefs concerning what these things may be, and whether they're blue chickens or whether they are blue avians. The Earth is a blue planet. Jeez. It's simple, coded, twisting. Let me see. Let's see what we get here.
Pray for you, and I pray that your life's okay. I pray that you're safe in prison. I pray that you find some sort of space in there, in that environment of satisfaction, reflection, meditation, that it has some value to you, whether it's getting three hots in a cot or whatever the case
I don't
may
even
be.
know who Winston is.
I hope you're okay. I hope you can see through this. I hope this doesn't break you. And I hope you're protected by Saint Germain or whoever.
Saint Germain or whoever. That's because they say they want to trademark Saint Germain.
Sample form. I would love to be able to do that for the community. I would really love to. But I gotta prioritize. And I gotta make sure that I address the work that I gotta do for myself personally, as far as, you know, the self-improvement I gotta do and taking care of my recovery and my sobriety. I also gotta address all the legal questions I have on my own cases and files that I have in my office. Those that remain. And do that that word too. So while I would love to do all these other things as well, I would hope that I will one day soon get a chance to take care of it.
Oh shit! I wanted to find the part.
It's great, dude. I can understand completely why people don't believe it. I don't believe it half the time myself. I'm on a journey, and I have to be honest with myself, even though I know and understand that it's almost impossible for people to accept. It's almost more difficult to deal with than to deal with Corey Good or David Wilcock.
There you go.
Because Corey Good and David Wilcock, in their reactionary response, in their negative responses,
welcome,
provides you with a platform to stand upon when you're making critical criticisms of their story, the veracity of their story, and their information. There are differences between Jason Rice's and Corey Good stuff.
Okay, so then we hit all the glitches. A lot of the time when you are being recorded or they're documenting evidence, the screen will break up, there'll be glitches, and a lot of people milk that like they're saying something really important, which is why this is happening. But I'll tell you, I was so upset that I didn't catch that live stream. I mean the evidence, like where I could read it and photograph it, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy to do this kind of stuff, okay? So, he was timed out of his own show on October 21st at 11:25 p.m. And that's a pretty unheard of thing. Now, this is one of his buddies, this creepy looking dude. But, for example, if we get down and you're seeing comments like this. Now I'm getting in trouble for showing I'm sorry. Boy, I gotta be so careful. You know, it was really funny the other day. This Scottish granny reads a book to her little grandson called I Need a New Bum. Man, that was funny. I don't think I can do anything without getting in trouble. You know, I mean, that's how it is out in the real world, and surely we thought this internet was some kind of... Oh, wait, that wasn't me that thought that. That was everybody else. I wasn't on it. I always knew. So if a redhead goes crazy, is it called ginger snaps? That's funny, isn't it? I think it's funny. And you know, really, it depends on your blood type. So here's what I would say. An A blood type like myself, we internalize our stress. It's natural. We want everybody to get along. And it's like when we fight a germ. We pull it all the way in and just crush it. We have really good immune systems. Where, saying, oh, they externalize their stress. So they might get loud, they might want to get physical, and I don't mean that in any harmful way. You know, the body needs to release that statement or that stress, whatnot. We all handle it different, but will I snap is the question. I don't think so. I've come this far. Now, here we are at the actual video where James O'Keefe does his deal. So, you see, he reminds me of what I do, to be honest. Because, say, for example, you might be somebody here in the great divided state of Missouri, and be getting a lot of phone calls right now about elections coming up and
Right. And we weren't called at all.
I have the right to document and record all of these interactions because in Missouri, only one person needs to know. It's always funny when you get a solicitor that tells you they're calling, you know, and recording this call and it's all upright and things, and I say, hey, great, let me go get my recording device, and they say, oh no, you can't do that. What does humanity come to when we believe a statement by a phone room person? And it's part of their script. Back to that. Some scripts are better than others.
I don't have a lot of time to say if you switch to Liberty Mutual, you can save $782. That's what I thought.
Our next guest is Fly, and he's very good. He's got to fly. Gosh, Owen really loves me with the puns. I'm tearing with the puns.
He's being interviewed. I'm going to jump it to here. Let's see. Let me read it for you. That's always safe.
Oh, there's Claire McCaskill.
Here we go. Journalists, so you would be on board with... Oh my God. That was so quick. She's voted for most of the things before for a ban. Oh yeah, great, great, oh yeah. Because I asked her when she was here, told me she had symptoms she supports. I'm not trying to race.
Now, fortunately, she lost that election in November of 2018, and I did do a video about that. But we were just getting this other little tidbit to add to the collection, so y'all have a good evening, and thank you very much for watching.